Thank you, Acting Attorney General, for being here. But I would like to think, I'll start off with this way, and I also want to thank the chairman for a show of honesty. We now have the reason for this hearing. It has nothing to do with the oversight of DOJ. It has everything to do, as we found out this morning in a document dump from the Democratic side of this committee and also another committee, that this is nothing more than a character assassination. And we're going to also decide to see if we can just do something and get at the president while we're had the chance. Yesterday, I want to tell you a story. My kids are now grown. They're 26 and down to 20. And I used to always love the Easter season and the time of especially hide and seek and going to find, eggs. And that look on their face when they found that last egg they were looking for. And that look of surprise. And yesterday was that for me again. I was back being a father again because yesterday was nothing but pure political theater. It was wonderful. It was a time for hide and seek. The chairman had a hearing. Let's do a subpoena. We're going to stand tough. And let's just do the timeline real quick. We get through with it, and as I had warned this committee, a preemptive subpoena was not a good idea. It chills all other witnesses coming before this committee and would probably have a detrimental effect to the acting attorney general. But, hey, I'm the minority. Who cares? So we do it. And the acting attorney general's office responded. And about 5 o'clock, the chairman sent a letter saying, we know we'll examine it on a case-by-case basis. The acting attorney general said, no, we need assurances that you're not going to issue a subpoena today or yesterday or today. So, okay, we're back and forth. DOJ, as I understand, he said, no, that's not enough assurance. And we were informed around a certain time last night, about 7 o'clock last night, that an agreement had been made, and it was a full cave by the committee chairman. No subpoenas today. So everything that we did earlier in the day was a complete waste of time. Now, what was even worse about this, and let's talk about, Twitter accounts. Last night around 8 o'clock, the chairman's Twitter account said acting attorney general was going to show up today at 9:30. The interesting thing about that is they linked to the 5 o'clock letter, not this letter, which I asked now to be admitted to the record, which, by the way, I was CC'd on, but never, I guess this is it. But we're going to put this into the record now. The letter to the acting attorney general in which the chairman of this committee says there will be no subpoena tomorrow and any differences we have we'll work on later. And I ask unanimous consent that be entered into the record.
Without objection.
So at 8 o'clock, we decided to send out a tweet to the world, which many in the media, by the way, picked up on and have run stories today saying the reason the judiciary chairman wins, the attorney general's coming, he doesn't have assurances. No, he does, right here. There's going to be no subpoena today. So when we talk about transparency, which was so evident yesterday, now we get to the real meat of the issue. It is also amazing to me, as I said yesterday, when you come here and you put an issue of this hearing, yes, on Thursday, Bill Barr was approved out of the Senate Judiciary Committee. By next Thursday, he will be the Attorney General. This gentleman right here is finishing up the last term of acting attorney general. He was willing to come, but yet we had the charade yesterday. This hearing is pointless, and basically it was made even more pointless by the chairman's opening statement. This is not about what the good men and women at the Department of Justice are doing. This is not about FBI agents who are doing their job. It could be about the FBI agents that we on our side have talked about that didn't do their job, and we'll probably hear a lot about that today. There's plenty of frustration of issues of DOJ oversight. But, sir, I'm not sure, frankly, that the oversight of your financial situation from 2014 to 2016 has anything to do with this hearing. It's beyond the scope of this hearing. So if this is what we're going to do, if this is where we're going, then I want to remind everyone that this is not the Senate. If my friends on the other side of the aisle of this committee wanted to do a confirmation hearing, they just ought to set it up front. And if they want to do a confirmation hearing on senators, run for Senate. This is not a confirmation hearing. This is a Department of Justice oversight hearing. Supposedly, I'm sorry. Back to theatrics again. The curtain opened up and we found out what was really going on. No, we want to damage the president. We want to talk about your private conversations. We want to talk about what you did and why the president, a most amazing quote I just heard a moment ago. We want to know why the president may have put you there for what he got. That's offensive. When we look at this and we go through this, Mr. Whitaker, There are a lot of issues that we've discussed personally, and there's also, as far as knowing this and discussing things that we could do at oversight that, frankly, on our side, we're frustrated with. And that's going to come out today. But for the chairman to do what we did yesterday, to have this hide-and-seek game, to play it all along, and then to willingly mislead the press and everybody else to think you're coming here today because of a partial assurance, not a full-blown cave, which is exactly what happened in this letter, is a travesty not only to this committee, but to the people watching and the reporters who thought it was real. When we look forward into this hearing today, it's time on this one, if this is the way we're going to go, then we'll have plenty of stunts. We're going to have plenty of theatrics. Bring your popcorn. I'm thinking about maybe we just set up a popcorn machine in the back, because that's what this is becoming. It's becoming a show. When your presence was here, you were coming voluntarily. You've always said you're coming voluntarily. So we had the show yesterday. We now have had the curtain drop down, and Mr. Whitaker, I guess your confirmation hearing's here. If you only got 5 days left on the job or 6 days left on the job, we could join together with the chairman and say, Mr. Barr, come in here, because you've been actually the Attorney General. Mr. Barr has been the Attorney General. He's been before this committee before. We could have had substantive hearings, but no, we're going to have a show. Dog and pony show. Let's get it out. This is the most amazing thing but I go back to something. Sometimes as a father, I started this as a father, I'm going to end it as a father. I'd give my kids advice and they look at me like, Dad, I love you. But then they give me that sort of dog look. I don't believe you. You know the sad part about this is? We predicted it all yesterday. We knew what was coming. The sad part about it is the chairman chose to play hide and seek. He chose to cave at the end, and by the way, still not have open and transparency. I'm glad we did. Glad we got it now. But this is no way to run the railroad, and it's definitely no way to run one of the most prestigious committees in this House. And this is something that everyone should be concerned about. There's enough at DOJ for us to do oversight on. But Mr. Whitaker, this is your life. Like the old TV show, they just want a piece of you. And with that, Mr. Chairman, pursuant to Clause 4, Rule 16I, I do now move to adjourn.
Mr. Chairman, a motion to adjourn has been made.